Step back 200-300 years and walk through the carved red city of Petra. Discover the secrets of its people, their daily lives, and the civilization that thrived in one of the most remarkable cities of the ancient world. The architectural marvels of Petra, the red city carved directly into the cliffs of southern Jordan, have fascinated explorers, historians, and travelers for centuries. Its stunning façades, monumental tombs, and intricately designed structures speak to a civilization that possessed not only technical skill, but also a profound sense of aesthetics and social organization. When one first encounters Petra, it is impossible not to be overwhelmed by the scale of human ingenuity displayed in its construction. Unlike cities built with bricks and mortar, Petra emerges as if it were a natural extension of the rocky landscape, a symbiosis of human vision and geological form. The city's very foundation is the sandstone cliffs that line the rugged valleys, their hues shifting from soft pinks to deep reds, giving the city its iconic red appearance. Carving structures into solid rock is no small feat. It requires meticulous planning, an understanding of stone properties, and extraordinary labor management. Every façade tells a story of both technical mastery and artistic intent, blending function with ceremonial symbolism in ways that modern architects continue to study. The most iconic examples of Petra's architecture, such as the Treasury or Al-Khazneh, demonstrate the sophistication of the Nabataean civilization that flourished here. This structure, carved entirely from the sandstone cliff, combines Hellenistic architectural influences with indigenous design traditions. Its monumental façade is adorned with Corinthian columns, intricate friezes, and sculpted figures that convey both religious significance and the display of wealth and power. The precision of the carvings is astonishing. Each detail, from the ornamental urns to the delicate rosettes, was etched into solid rock, demanding not only skillful artistry, but also an intimate knowledge of tools and techniques that could manipulate stone without causing structural failure. Unlike conventional masonry, where stones are cut and assembled piece by piece, Petra's rock-cut architecture required artisans to visualize the entire structure in the cliff face before beginning, ensuring that proportions, symmetry, and depth were accurate. This approach demonstrates an advanced understanding of both geometry and engineering, highlighting the intellectual achievements of the Nabataeans, whose skills rivaled those of their contemporaries across the ancient Mediterranean. Petra's architectural marvels extend far beyond the Treasury. The Monastery or Deir, another monumental rock-cut structure, showcases the adaptability of Nabataean design to the natural environment. While the Treasury captures attention with its ornate façade and intricate decoration, the monastery impresses with its monumental scale and harmonious proportions, carved into a more remote and elevated cliff face. The sheer size of the monastery, measuring approximately 50 meters wide and 45 meters high, underscores the capacity of the Nabataeans to undertake projects of grand scale, mobilizing large workforces over extended periods. Such constructions were not merely expressions of religious devotion. They also functioned as markers of social cohesion, reflecting a community capable of coordinating resources, labor, and architectural planning on a monumental level. Every chisel mark, every terrace, and every carved staircase is evidence of a society deeply attuned to the interplay between natural landscapes and human intervention, crafting spaces that were functional, ceremonial, and aesthetically striking all at once. One of the most remarkable aspects of Petra's architecture is its integration of urban planning with the natural terrain. The city was not haphazardly constructed. Rather, it demonstrates careful thought about water management, defensive strategy, and the flow of human movement through its narrow canyons and open plazas. The a narrow gorge that serves as the main entrance to the city, is both a natural wonder and a feat of practical engineering. Its winding path, flanked by towering cliffs, functions as a controlled access route, protecting the city from potential invaders while simultaneously creating a dramatic approach that heightens the visitor's sense of awe. Along the channels carved into the rock once directed water to reservoirs and cisterns within the city, showcasing the Nabataeans' sophisticated hydraulic engineering. This marriage of architecture and environment ensured not only the city's beauty, but also its sustainability, enabling Petra to flourish in an otherwise arid region. Such integration demonstrates a holistic understanding of architecture, where aesthetics, utility, and environmental adaptation coalesce into a singular vision. The tombs of Petra further exemplify the ingenuity of Nabataean architecture. Carved into cliffs of varying hardness, these tombs range from modest chambers to elaborate façades adorned with columns, pediments, and sculptural details. The ability to tailor designs to the natural variations in rock illustrates the artisan's deep familiarity with their material. More than mere burial sites, these tombs were statements of status, artistry, and religious belief, reflecting a culture that honored its dead with spaces of enduring grandeur. Each façade presents a unique combination of stylistic elements, blending indigenous traditions with influences drawn from Hellenistic, Roman, and Egyptian architecture. This eclecticism indicates not only trade connections, but also a society confident in its identity, willing to incorporate foreign motifs while asserting its own aesthetic principles. In essence, the tombs of Petra stand as enduring symbols of the Nabataeans' mastery over stone, space, and symbolism, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire admiration centuries later. The urban residential architecture of Petra, although less monumental than its tombs and temples, also reveals the ingenuity and adaptability of its builders. Homes were carved into cliffs, with carefully planned rooms, ventilation shafts, and water channels. These living spaces were designed to accommodate the harsh desert climate, providing insulation from heat during the day and retaining warmth during the cool nights. Courtyards, steps, and terraces were integrated seamlessly into the rocky landscape, creating functional yet elegant living environments. Archaeological evidence suggests that homes were not only structurally resilient, but also adorned with decorative plaster, frescoes, and intricate stonework, highlighting the Nabataeans' attention to both comfort and beauty. By embedding their dwellings directly into the cliffs, the inhabitants of Petra transformed the natural terrain into a habitable and visually stunning urban environment, demonstrating an advanced understanding of both architecture and ecology. Water management, an essential component of Petra's architectural marvels, reflects the technical sophistication of its planners. Channels, cisterns, and dams were meticulously carved to capture, store, and distribute scarce water resources throughout the city. This system enabled the population to thrive in a desert environment that might otherwise have been inhospitable. The strategic placement of these features within the urban layout ensured that water was accessible to residential, religious, and commercial areas, illustrating a comprehensive approach to urban planning. The integration of hydraulic engineering with rock-cut architecture represents a remarkable achievement, highlighting the Nabataeans' ability to harmonize practical necessity with aesthetic design. The resulting cityscape is one in which every structure, pathway, and reservoir contributes to both the functionality and visual splendor of Petra. The façades and monumental structures of Petra also served a symbolic and ceremonial purpose. By carving elaborate designs into sheer rock faces, the Nabataeans transformed their environment into a narrative canvas, communicating social hierarchies, religious beliefs, and cultural values. Temples, theaters, and public buildings were oriented to maximize visibility and impact, reinforcing the city's role as both a spiritual and civic center. Even the scale of these constructions conveys meaning. The towering columns and expansive façades project power and permanence, asserting the presence of the Nabataean civilization across the landscape. This use of architecture as a form of storytelling and social signaling is a testament to the sophistication of their cultural expression, revealing a society that understood the psychological and symbolic dimensions of space. Life in Petra 300 years ago was a complex tapestry woven from the threads of trade, tradition, environment, and social structure. The city was home to the Nabataeans, a people renowned not only for their architectural ingenuity, but also for their sophisticated social and cultural life. Unlike many ancient civilizations that were centered on agriculture alone, the Nabataeans cultivated a lifestyle that integrated commerce, religion, art, and domestic routines, creating a vibrant society that thrived in the harsh desert landscape. The daily rhythms of Petra's inhabitants were shaped by the city's geography, climate, and its status as a strategic hub for trade routes connecting Arabia, the Levant, and the Mediterranean. Walking through the streets of Petra One can imagine a city alive with the sounds of merchants calling out their wares, artisans chiseling stone, animals moving through narrow passageways, and families engaged in domestic tasks, all orchestrated within a city carved from the rose-red cliffs that surrounded them. The Nabataeans' economy was one of the defining elements of daily life. Petra's location at the crossroads of major trade routes meant that its people were constantly engaged in commerce, exchanging goods such as spices, incense, textiles, metals, and precious stones. Markets were bustling centers of activity, where merchants from distant lands brought exotic items and local traders offered finely crafted goods. Families were often involved in multiple economic roles. Some managed caravans traveling across deserts, others oversaw warehouses and storage facilities, and yet others specialized in crafts such as pottery, metalwork, or textile production. These economic activities were closely linked to social status, with wealthier families able to commission larger homes carved into the cliffs and sponsor elaborate tombs and public structures. Yet even the less affluent citizens played a crucial role in the city's functioning, contributing their labor, skills, and creativity to maintain the intricate balance of urban life. Domestic life in Petra reflected both practicality and attention to comfort. Homes were often carved directly into the rock, a design that provided natural insulation from the extreme heat of day and cold of night. Interiors included multiple rooms, courtyards, and terraces that allowed for light, ventilation, and social interaction. Water, a precious resource in the desert, was carefully managed through an elaborate system of channels, cisterns, and reservoirs, ensuring that families could access it for cooking, bathing, and irrigation. Women played a central role in maintaining households, preparing meals, spinning and weaving textiles, and supervising children. Evidence from archaeological excavations suggests that cooking was done over open hearths or small stone ovens, and meals were often simple but nutritious, including grains, legumes, fruits, and occasionally meat or dairy. Communal spaces in homes and courtyards also allowed for social gatherings, reflecting a culture that valued interaction, hospitality, and family bonds. Religion and ritual were deeply intertwined with daily life in Petra. The Nabataeans worshipped a pantheon of gods and goddesses, many associated with natural forces, fertility, and protection. Temples, altars, and shrines were integral to the urban landscape, and ceremonies often involved offerings of food, incense, or crafted items. Festivals and religious observances provided occasions for communal gatherings, reinforcing social cohesion and shared cultural identity. In homes, small altars or sacred spaces were common, where families could honor deities, seek protection, or commemorate ancestors. This integration of spiritual practice into everyday routines reflected a worldview in which the divine was intimately connected with the physical and social environment, influencing both decisions and daily habits. Education and the transmission of knowledge were also central to Petra's culture. While formal schools as we understand them may not have existed, children learned essential skills from their parents, elders, and community members. Boys were typically trained in commerce, animal husbandry, or craftwork, depending on their family's trade, while girls were instructed in household management, weaving, and social etiquette. Storytelling, oral traditions, and observation of daily activities played a significant role in teaching history, cultural values, and practical skills. Literacy, although limited to certain segments of the population, was crucial for trade and administrative functions, with inscriptions, tablets, and records serving as tools for communication and documentation. This system of practical education ensured that knowledge and expertise were passed down, sustaining Petra's social and economic structures across generations. Art and craftsmanship were omnipresent in the daily lives of Petra's inhabitants. Beyond monumental architecture, everyday objects such as pottery, jewelry, tools, and furniture were carefully crafted, often bearing decorative motifs or symbolic engravings. Artisans held respected positions within the community, as their skills were essential not only for aesthetic purposes, but also for functional needs. Pottery, for instance, was used for storing water, food, and oil, and the designs often reflected cultural influences from surrounding regions. Metalwork included both practical items such as knives and cooking implements, and ornamental pieces like bracelets, earrings, and ceremonial objects. The integration of beauty and utility in these items demonstrates a culture that valued both craftsmanship and artistic expression, enhancing daily life and creating a tangible connection to cultural identity. Trade networks not only influenced Petra's economy, but also its social and cultural fabric. Interaction with merchants, travelers, and foreign emissaries brought new ideas, styles, and technologies into the city, enriching daily life and encouraging cultural exchange. Fashion, for instance, reflected a blend of local traditions and foreign influences, with clothing and adornments often serving as indicators of social status, profession, or wealth. Similarly, cuisine evolved through exposure to imported spices, grains, and cooking techniques, allowing families to diversify their diets and culinary practices. These interactions fostered a cosmopolitan environment, where inhabitants were both proud of their heritage and open to innovation, creating a dynamic culture that balanced tradition with adaptation. Leisure and entertainment were integral to the rhythm of life in Petra. Archaeological findings suggest that public spaces, theatres, and communal areas hosted events, performances, and social gatherings. Music, dance, and storytelling were common forms of entertainment, providing both relaxation and a means of reinforcing cultural narratives. Sports and physical activities, often conducted in open courtyards or designated areas, promoted community bonding and individual skill development. Even religious festivals often combined ritual with entertainment, featuring processions, music, and performances that engaged the broader population. This interplay between work, worship, and leisure demonstrates the holistic nature of Nabataean life, in which the practical, spiritual, and social aspects were closely intertwined. The roles of gender and family structure were clearly defined yet complementary in Petra. Men typically engaged in external activities such as trade, governance, and defense, while women managed households, education of children, and domestic crafts. However, both roles were essential for the city's functioning, and social structures emphasized cooperation and interdependence. Extended families often lived in close proximity, facilitating the sharing of resources, knowledge, and responsibilities. Kinship and tribal affiliations played a significant role in determining social networks, marriage arrangements, and inheritance, reflecting a society organized around both familial and civic loyalty. These structures ensured stability and continuity, enabling Petra to flourish despite environmental challenges and external pressures. Cuisine and food culture were reflective of Petra's environment and trade connections. Meals were generally modest but nutritious, incorporating grains such as wheat and barley, legumes like lentils and chickpeas, dried fruits, nuts, and occasional meat or dairy products. The use of spices and imported ingredients, obtained through trade routes, added variety and flavor to daily meals. Cooking methods were adapted to both domestic and communal settings, often using stone hearths or ovens built into homes and public spaces. Food was not merely sustenance but also a medium for socialization, hospitality, and religious observance. Shared meals during festivals, communal gatherings, or family events reinforced social bonds and reflected cultural values centered on generosity, community, and ritual practice. Petra, the ancient red city carved into the cliffs of southern Jordan, was not only a marvel of architecture, but also a thriving hub of trade and economic activity. Its strategic location at the crossroads of major trade routes enabled the Nabataeans to control the flow of goods, wealth, and cultural exchange across the region. The city's economy was intricately tied to its geography, with access to caravan routes that connected Arabia, the Levant, and the Mediterranean, making Petra a focal point for commerce over centuries. This unique positioning allowed the Nabataeans to transform their arid desert environment into a flourishing center of trade, wealth, and influence. The economic life of Petra was complex, involving multiple layers of trade networks, taxation systems, commercial enterprises, and social hierarchies, all orchestrated with remarkable efficiency and foresight. At the heart of Petra's economy was its role as a hub for the incense and spice trade. These commodities, highly valued across the ancient world, were transported along long-distance caravan routes originating in southern Arabia and reaching markets in Egypt, Greece, Rome, and beyond. Frankincense, myrrh, and other aromatic resins were essential in religious rituals, medicine, and luxury consumption, making them highly lucrative goods. The Nabataeans, by controlling access to the desert routes and offering protection to caravans, established themselves as indispensable intermediaries in this trade. They collected tolls, regulated transport, and provided services such as lodging, food, and water for traveling merchants, creating a sophisticated system of commerce that ensured both profit and security. This economic model not only generated wealth for the city, but also reinforced its strategic significance in regional politics and diplomacy. Petra's economy was diverse, extending beyond spices and incense to include textiles, metals, agricultural products, and luxury items. The city's inhabitants engaged in the production, storage, and distribution of goods, employing a combination of skilled artisans, laborers, and merchants. Textile production was particularly important, with the creation of woolen, linen, and possibly silk garments for local use and trade. Metalworking provided tools, weapons, jewelry, and decorative objects, reflecting both practical and aesthetic concerns. Agricultural products, though limited by the desert environment, were supplemented by advanced water management systems, enabling the cultivation of fruits, vegetables, and grains. The Nabataeans' ability to integrate natural resources, technological ingenuity, and trade networks allowed Petra to thrive economically despite its arid setting, illustrating a level of economic sophistication comparable to the great cities of the ancient Mediterranean. Water management was not only crucial for survival, but also for maintaining economic activity. Petra's sophisticated hydraulic systems, including channels, cisterns, and dams, ensured a reliable supply of water for domestic use, irrigation, and trade-related functions. Caravan stations and storage facilities were strategically located near water sources, allowing merchants to rest, replenish supplies, and conduct transactions efficiently. This infrastructure supported both the population and the constant flow of goods, reinforcing Petra's reputation as a well-organized and secure trading center. The ability to provide reliable water and shelter for caravans contributed significantly to the city's economic dominance, as merchants were willing to pay for safety, convenience, and efficiency during their long desert journeys. The marketplaces of Petra were vibrant centers of economic and social life. Merchants from across the region, representing diverse cultures and goods, converged in these spaces, creating a cosmopolitan environment that encouraged exchange and innovation. Prices, trade agreements, and contracts were likely negotiated through a combination of verbal agreements, written records, and customary practices, reflecting a sophisticated commercial culture. Artisans and craftsmen displayed their wares alongside imported goods, blending local production with foreign influence to meet the tastes and demands of both residents and travelers. The marketplaces also functioned as centers for social interaction, news exchange, and political negotiation, illustrating the interconnectedness of economic, social, and cultural life in Petra. In this way, trade was not merely a commercial activity, but a driving force shaping the entire fabric of the city. Caravan trade required extensive organization and risk management. Traveling across deserts was perilous, with threats from harsh climate, bandits, and logistical challenges. The Nabataeans developed specialized knowledge and infrastructure to mitigate these risks, including the construction of fortified routes, the provision of guides, and the establishment of way stations along trade paths. Camels and donkeys were primary modes of transport, chosen for their endurance, adaptability, and ability to carry heavy loads. Merchants often traveled in large, coordinated caravans to ensure safety and efficiency. This system required careful planning, investment in resources, and expertise in navigation and survival, highlighting the Nabataeans' practical ingenuity and strategic foresight. The ability to manage these complex operations contributed directly to Petra's prosperity, reinforcing its status as a center of economic power. Taxation and regulation played a key role in maintaining Petra's economic dominance. By imposing fees on goods passing through their territory, the Nabataeans secured revenue that funded public works, military defense, and social services. Administrative structures, likely involving scribes and officials, ensured that transactions were recorded, obligations met, and disputes resolved. These mechanisms not only strengthened the city's financial base, but also contributed to political stability, as merchants and residents relied on predictable rules and protections. The combination of economic opportunity and regulatory oversight created an environment in which commerce could flourish, attracting traders from across the ancient world and establishing Petra as a critical node in regional trade networks. Petra's strategic significance extended beyond economics. Its location allowed the Nabataeans to control access to key routes, monitor regional movements, and engage in diplomatic relations with neighboring powers. The city's defenses, including cliffs, narrow gorges, and fortified areas, provided natural and constructed protection against potential invaders, ensuring the safety of both residents and trade goods. The Nabataeans' ability to leverage geography, infrastructure, and diplomacy contributed to their resilience and long-term success, allowing Petra to maintain its importance for centuries, despite political changes in the surrounding region. This strategic advantage reinforced economic activity, as merchants and travelers trusted Petra as a secure and reliable hub for commerce. Cultural and commercial exchange was another significant aspect of Petra's economic life. Interaction with traders from Greece, Rome, Egypt, and Arabia brought not only goods but also ideas, technologies, and artistic influences. Architecture, art, and everyday objects in Petra often reflect a blend of local and foreign elements, demonstrating the city's role as a melting pot of cultures. This exchange enriched daily life, inspired innovation, and reinforced Petra's position as a cosmopolitan center. The convergence of commerce and culture in Petra exemplifies how economic activity can shape societal development, creating a dynamic environment in which trade, art, and social structure are mutually reinforcing. The city's wealth also enabled the development of public works and monumental architecture, further enhancing its economic and social significance. Temples, tombs, theaters, and civic spaces not only reflected religious devotion and cultural identity, but also provided infrastructure to support economic and social activities. These projects required investment, planning, and skilled labor, demonstrating how wealth generated through trade was reinvested into the urban environment. The visible grandeur of Petra's structures served as a testament to the city's prosperity, attracting travelers, merchants, and dignitaries, and reinforcing its reputation as a center of power and influence. Architecture thus became both an economic and political tool, symbolizing the city's wealth while facilitating ongoing commercial activity. Petra, the ancient rose-red city carved into the cliffs of southern Jordan, has long captivated historians, archaeologists, and travelers alike, not merely for its architectural beauty or economic prowess, but for the secrets and mysteries that surround it. The city's remote location, hidden within rugged mountains and accessible only through narrow gorges, gave it an aura of secrecy that has persisted for millennia. Even today, the rediscovery of Petra in the early 19th century by explorers like Johann Ludwig Burckhardt felt like uncovering a lost world, a place that time had almost erased from memory. The mysteries of Petra extend beyond its monumental façades and tombs, encompassing the daily lives of its inhabitants, the intricacies of its construction, the hidden passages and chambers within its cliffs, and the remarkable ingenuity that allowed a thriving civilization to flourish in such a harsh desert environment. These enigmas continue to intrigue modern scholars, prompting debates, studies, and ongoing exploration into what life was really like in this extraordinary city. One of the central mysteries of Petra lies in the methods used by the Nabataeans to construct such monumental rock-cut structures. Carving elaborate façades, tombs, and temples directly into sandstone cliffs requires an intimate understanding of the material, precise planning, and exceptional craftsmanship. Scholars have long wondered how the Nabataeans achieved such precision without the sophisticated tools and machinery of later civilizations. The alignment, scale, and detail of structures such as the Treasury and the Monastery suggest advanced knowledge of geometry and engineering principles. Questions also arise about the labor force. How many artisans and laborers were involved? What organization and management strategies were employed? And how construction projects were sustained over years or even decades? Despite extensive archaeological research, much about these processes remains uncertain, leaving room for speculation and wonder regarding the technological and logistical capabilities of the Nabataeans. Petra's water management systems are another source of fascination and mystery. In a desert environment where water scarcity could have limited growth and prosperity, The Nabataeans engineered a network of channels, cisterns, and reservoirs to collect, store, and distribute water throughout the city. Some of these channels are hidden within cliffs, while others are integrated into urban streets and courtyards, demonstrating a remarkable understanding of hydraulics and urban planning. Modern engineers continue to study these systems to understand their efficiency, resilience, and adaptability to seasonal changes. Questions remain about the full extent of these networks, including potential undiscovered reservoirs or conduits, as well as the methods used to maintain and repair them over centuries. The sophistication of Petra's water management highlights the ingenuity of its inhabitants and suggests that the city's survival depended on both technical skill and a deep awareness of environmental constraints. The social and cultural secrets of Petra are equally compelling. Archaeologists have uncovered evidence of a highly stratified society, with wealth and status reflected in tombs, homes, and public buildings. Yet many details of daily life, governance, and social organization remain enigmatic. For example, inscriptions and graffiti found throughout the city provide glimpses into language, trade, and religious practices, but much of the Nabataean written record is still partially undeciphered or incomplete. The role of women, children, and marginalized groups within the city is not fully understood, leaving questions about family structure, education, and gender dynamics. Similarly, while temples and altars suggest a rich religious life, the precise beliefs, rituals, and symbolic meanings remain partly obscured. These cultural mysteries invite ongoing research, interpretation, and imagination, offering a tantalizing window into a civilization that skillfully blended practicality, spirituality, and artistry. Petra's hidden spaces contribute to its aura of mystery. Many of the city's caves, tombs, and chambers have yet to be fully explored, leaving the potential for new discoveries about storage methods, burial practices, or ceremonial use. Some chambers may contain inscriptions, relics, or artifacts that could reshape our understanding of Nabataean culture. Secret passageways, narrow staircases, and concealed chambers suggest an architectural sophistication designed not only for aesthetic appeal, but also for practical purposes such as security, storage, or religious significance. The discovery of previously unknown sites around Petra occasionally challenges assumptions about the city's size, organization, and function, reminding scholars that much of its history is still buried, waiting to be revealed through meticulous exploration and study. Trade and interaction with neighboring civilizations also add layers of mystery to Petra's legacy. Archaeological evidence indicates that the Nabataeans were in contact with Egypt, Rome, Greece, and Arabia, exchanging goods, ideas, and artistic styles. Yet the full extent of these networks and the details of cultural influence remain partly speculative. How much of Petra's urban design, art, and religious practice was indigenous versus borrowed or adapted? To what degree did foreign trade shape societal norms, economic structures, or political alliances? The answers to these questions are often fragmentary, derived from material culture, inscriptions, and comparative studies with other ancient centers. Each new finding, whether a shard of pottery, a coin, or a piece of sculpture, adds another piece to the puzzle, slowly illuminating the complex interactions that sustained Petra as a thriving cosmopolitan hub. Another enduring mystery is the sudden decline of Petra. At its height, the city was a bustling metropolis and an economic powerhouse, yet it gradually lost prominence. Scholars debate the causes, which may include shifts in trade routes, natural disasters such as earthquakes, resource depletion, or political changes in surrounding empires. Archaeological evidence shows signs of destruction, abandonment, and resettlement, but the details of the decline are not fully understood. Did the Nabataeans leave voluntarily, or were they displaced? How did the remaining population adapt to changing conditions? This decline, shrouded in partial evidence, adds a layer of intrigue to Petra's history, inviting reflection on the vulnerability of even the most advanced civilizations to environmental and political forces. Petra's art and iconography carry secrets as well. Sculptures, reliefs, and decorative motifs reveal symbolic, religious, and aesthetic elements, yet the full meaning of many designs remains debated. Certain motifs appear unique to Petra, blending influences from Hellenistic, Roman, and local traditions, while others suggest ritual or ceremonial significance that has yet to be fully interpreted. Funerary art, in particular, offers clues about beliefs in the afterlife, social hierarchy, and the cultural importance of memorialization. Yet, despite extensive study, scholars continue to uncover new interpretations, indicating that Petra's visual language is complex and layered, encoding meanings that extend beyond what is immediately apparent. The enduring legacy of Petra is also evident in its influence on later civilizations and modern imagination. Its architecture inspired subsequent rock-cut constructions in the region, while its status as a trade hub influenced settlement patterns and cultural exchange in the surrounding areas. Today, Petra stands as a symbol of human ingenuity, resilience, and artistic achievement, drawing millions of visitors and scholars who seek to connect with its ancient secrets. Yet this very popularity raises questions about preservation and interpretation. How can modern society balance tourism, conservation, and ongoing archaeological research to protect Petra's legacy for future generations? These challenges add a contemporary dimension to the city's mysteries, as the methods and policies for safeguarding its treasures continue to evolve alongside scholarly understanding. Archaeological discoveries over the past century have gradually revealed Petra's hidden dimensions, but each new finding also raises further questions. Excavations have uncovered residential areas, workshops, and ceremonial spaces that were previously unknown, showing that Petra was far more than a collection of monumental façades. Everyday objects such as pottery, tools, and personal items provide glimpses into domestic life, trade, and social organization, yet many of these artifacts are fragmentary or incomplete. Some discoveries suggest the presence of specialized crafts and guilds within the city, pointing to an organized economic system that remains only partially understood. Scholars continue to debate the functions of certain structures, whether they were administrative, religious, or residential, and the discovery of inscriptions and graffiti occasionally shifts interpretations, revealing the fluidity of historical understanding. The fact that large portions of Petra remain unexcavated or inaccessible preserves the sense of mystery that surrounds the city, highlighting how much remains to be learned about its culture and inhabitants. Certain areas of Petra, especially the remote monasteries, tombs, and cliffside sanctuaries, continue to elude full study. These hidden or difficult to reach spaces may contain undiscovered inscriptions, burial goods, or architectural features that could illuminate previously unknown aspects of Nabataean life. The possibility of secret chambers, hidden passages, or ceremonial spaces inaccessible to modern archaeologists has fueled speculation and research for decades. Some researchers hypothesize that these areas might have been used for religious rituals or initiations, storing sacred objects or treasures meant to remain hidden from public view. The layered nature of Petra, carved over centuries and continually modified, adds to the complexity, as structures may have been repurposed, expanded, or partially concealed over time. Each new discovery challenges existing assumptions and reinforces the idea that Petra's story is far from complete, with hidden chapters still buried within its cliffs. The Nabataeans' understanding of astronomy and alignment may also hold secrets. Certain temples, monuments, and ceremonial spaces appear to be oriented with respect to the sun, stars, or seasonal cycles. Scholars have debated whether these alignments were purely symbolic, functional for religious observation, or practical for agricultural or water management purposes. The use of natural light and shadow in Petra's rock-cut architecture, particularly in tomb façades and temple interiors, suggests that the Nabataeans intentionally integrated celestial phenomena into their design, creating dramatic visual effects and perhaps marking significant calendar events. Understanding the full extent of this knowledge is challenging, as environmental changes and centuries of erosion may have altered original orientations or features. Nonetheless, these possibilities highlight the Nabataeans' sophisticated perception of the natural world and their ability to embed cultural and spiritual significance into their urban environment. Petra's funerary practices also harbor mysteries that continue to intrigue researchers. The city contains hundreds of tombs, ranging from modest family graves to monumental rock-cut complexes with intricate façades. While the physical structure of these tombs is well documented, the rituals, beliefs, and social meanings associated with them are still partly obscured. Analysis of burial remains, grave goods, and inscriptions offers insights into social hierarchy, religious beliefs, and cultural interactions. Yet many tombs have been looted or damaged over time. Questions persist regarding the selection of tomb locations, the symbolism of decorative motifs, and the potential for hidden chambers containing further artifacts or information. These funerary sites serve as both historical records and enduring enigmas, providing a tangible connection to the lives of Petra's inhabitants, while leaving space for interpretation and discovery. The city's hidden tunnels and potential subterranean networks add another layer to its secrets. Archaeological surveys and early explorers reported narrow passageways, cisterns, and underground chambers that may have served multiple purposes, from water management and storage to ritual or defensive functions. The full extent of these underground features remains uncertain, and some areas have yet to be excavated due to structural risks or limited access. Speculation about hidden treasures or secret ceremonial sites within these tunnels has fueled both academic research and popular imagination. The combination of accessibility challenges and incomplete documentation ensures that Petra's subterranean landscape retains a significant degree of mystery, encouraging ongoing exploration and study. Petra's enduring legacy extends beyond its physical remains to its influence on cultural imagination, scholarship, and heritage preservation. The city's dramatic architecture, desert setting, and historical significance have inspired artists, writers, and filmmakers, creating a narrative of Petra as a lost city of wonder. Its rediscovery in the 19th century sparked renewed interest in the Nabataeans and the broader history of the Near East, positioning Petra as a symbol of human creativity, resilience, and adaptability. Modern archaeological methods, including remote sensing, digital mapping, and 3D reconstruction, continue to reveal previously unknown aspects of the city, ensuring that Petra's legacy evolves alongside our understanding of it. These studies also highlight the ongoing challenges of preservation, as erosion, tourism, and environmental pressures threaten fragile structures and rock-cut façades, emphasizing the need to balance accessibility with protection. Petra's cultural and historical significance has also shaped the identity and heritage of the region. The city serves as a source of national pride, a site of global recognition, and a focal point for research and tourism. Its inscription as a UNESCO World Heritage Site acknowledges both its extraordinary architectural and cultural value and the responsibility to protect it for future generations. The ongoing fascination with Petra reflects a broader human desire to connect with the past, understand ancient civilizations, and learn from their ingenuity and adaptation. Scholars, conservators, and visitors alike are drawn to the city's mysteries, appreciating not only its material achievements, but also the complex social, economic, and spiritual life that it once supported. Despite centuries of study, Petra continues to reveal new secrets, reminding us that the past is not static but layered, dynamic, and often elusive. Each excavation, analysis, or discovery sheds light on aspects of Nabataean life that were previously unknown, while simultaneously raising new questions. The interplay between tangible remains and the unknown, between what can be seen and what remains hidden, forms the essence of Petra's enduring allure. Scholars debate theories, reinterpret evidence, and test new hypotheses, creating a living dialogue with the city's past. This ongoing engagement with Petra's mysteries underscores its significance as a site of intellectual curiosity, cultural reflection, and historical inquiry, demonstrating that the city's legacy is not confined to its cliffs, but continues to shape our understanding of human history. Petra's architectural, economic, and cultural secrets are inseparable from its environmental context, further deepening the sense of mystery. The city's builders had to adapt to the desert climate, extreme temperatures, and rugged terrain, creating solutions that combined practicality with aesthetic sophistication. Water channels, terraces, and rock-cut dwellings illustrate a remarkable integration of human ingenuity with natural systems. The reasons behind specific choices in construction, urban planning, or ceremonial orientation often remain speculative, challenging researchers to interpret evidence within its historical, social, and environmental framework. Each unexplored cave, unexamined tomb, or partially eroded inscription carries the potential to reveal new insights, making Petra not just a static site, but a living puzzle that invites ongoing discovery.